Great. Good evening, great people. Welcome again to our show where we usually meet every Thursday at 7:30, and we want to appreciate you coming in, you logging in. We don't take it for granted. We thank God for each and every one of you taking your time, and I know today will be an amazing day. So thank you. Even as we get to have these minutes of wisdom of empowering one another. I want to acknowledge all those who are watching us from different areas, and kindly make sure that you are sharing this link on your page. Make sure you are able to tag your friends, and more so those people that you know they're in the leadership place, they're in the leadership position, because I know today we are going to bring the best in terms of leadership and what God is going to help us. So thank you so much. I want to appreciate those people who have already checked in. I can see Tabi Wamboi. Thank you, Mama. God bless you. Representing Magogoni, massive. Thank you. God bless you. We appreciate you. Very impressive. Keep up the good work. Thank you. It's by grace of God. And thank you for joining. Thank you, Shaluta, for joining in. God bless you. Thank you even for the support that you usually accord this show. And Justin, can't wait. Thank you. Karoshi, all the way from Nyeri. Thank you so much. I can see my friend here, John Mwangi. Thank you for coming in. I can see Mercy. Thank you, Foxy. Thank you. God bless you. Then Jane, thank you. I can also see another friend of mine here, Mike. Thank you so much. Mike, yes, I can see Reverend Jane saying that I'm ready. Yes, you better be ready because I know the place where you are in terms of the leadership and all that we need to do. So kindly make sure that you are sharing these. Make sure that you are tagging someone, even if you can call them. I know this is not those shows that we just come to do for the sake of doing, but I know today if you can call someone and tell them, do you know what, you need to be in. Because even as we come to the end of the year, from a different institution we lead, from different organization we lead, I also want to acknowledge my brothers and sisters who are following us from the YouTube. I know there are quite a number of people who are in the YouTube channel. We really appreciate you. We might not be able to recognize you as we do in the Facebook, but know from us to you that we really appreciate your time, and also getting through the YouTube and making sure that both houses are well represented. So we acknowledge you and we totally love you. Thank you so much for always making sure you give us that support that we require. Now, without much ado, allow me to get into today's discussion so that we are able to do the best that we can, and also be able to finish all that we had planned to do today. I want to start from that place of today we are discussing about leadership power, and I will pray that I'll be able to contain my energy so that I'm able to hit and able to explain those points in a very simple way and in a very clear manner that each and everyone will understand as a leader. Because I've realized majority of people, they get into the leadership position, and what they keep doing, it's complaining that my followers don't understand me. Probably they don't understand what I'm doing. Probably you feel there is a disconnect between the leader and the follower, or the people you are leading. Most of the time you'll realize majority of leaders who get into the leadership position, they'll have one or two reasons they'll keep complaining. They feel like probably these people don't understand the commitment that I have. Probably they don't understand what I'm doing. And most of the time I always say this, it is not within the followers to try and understand where you are taking them. It is not their work. Actually, I always say this. It is not the work of the followers to try and understand. You need to make it as simple, as black as it, as black as white, black as black is it, that the place whereby that they're able to understand with clarity, this is where you're moving them and this is where you're taking them. That is their work, is to to follow you. So you must know the way. As we started in the leadership, we said this, that a leader knows the way, walk the way, and can be able to lead others through the same way. So it means you know where you are taking them. So when you feel there is a disconnect, you need to ask yourself as a leader, are you using all the powers that you have so that you can be able to help yourself and also be able to help the people you are leading to do the best in terms of achieving the vision and the mission? Now, when we talk about power, power has three angles into it. Power is the ability to influence people to behave in a certain manner. Let me repeat. Power is the ability to influence people to behave in a certain manner. So why you have power is that you can be able to influence people to behave in a certain manner. Why you have power, the power that you have as a leader, is supposed to help you. It's a catalyst, is a tool that you use to help people to, one, behave in a certain manner, influence their thought, influence their culture, so that they can be able to do things in a certain way. So if you're a leader, you need to know you have that power. You have that power. You have that power that you lead. You push people. You influence their mind. You influence their culture. You influence their commitment. So it is all about the leader. That's why they say everything lies and falls under the leadership. So the leader has the power, has the ability. Everything has been bestowed on you. Everything is given unto you. It's on your shoulder. So when you find your followers behaving in a certain manner, either there is absence of power or the misplace of power. Let me repeat that. When you see your followers or the people you lead, whether it's in a group, whether it is an institution, whether it is a church, when you realize the people you are leading are behaving in a certain manner, either it is an evidence of absence of power or misplaced of power, and hence they don't feel the power, because the presence of power, it is an influential catalyst in terms of people to do certain things. So when you find people are complaining, either because they are absent or they are gap in terms of power. And in other words, they are saying, we are not feeling our leader. We are not understanding our leader. And I said, it is not the work of the follower to try and think what you're saying and where you're leading people. I hope I'm clear up to that. Link that foundation, that the purpose of having power is to influence people. So you cannot complain as a leader when your followers are complaining. When followers are complaining, it is difficult. Then you cannot join the wagon and complain, it is hard. Because when you complain, and already you have been given what we call the tools of power. You already have the tools of power. And that's what you'll be looking at, the different tools of the power and the powers that you have. That's supposed to facilitate you to lead in a better way. So there are 5 or 6 powers of leaders, or rather 5 different powers a leader can use. And I want you to mark yourself if you're a leader. How many of these powers you have been able to use at different seasons? How have you been able to employ them? Because if you know how to play along those 6 different types of powers, my friend, I'm telling you, your leadership will be effective, will be efficient, will be impactful, will be result-oriented, and people will always want to surround yourself. Now, the first power that a leader have is what we would call the legitimate power, or the legit power. The legitimate power is that power that you already have, either through the legal system or the constitution system of the group that you lead, or the bylaws, that you are the designate leader at that particular moment, and everybody knows that you have that legit power to be in that position. Either you are the CEO, either you are the reverend, either you are the chairman, either you're the secretary. You have that legit power that you already have, and everybody knows that you're the manager in that department, and no one can question that. It's derived from the legal, legitimate. You already have it through the right tools of power or through the right systems of having acquired that position that you have. And everybody is comfortable with you because you are that particular season and that particular tenor, as we say in leadership, you are their leader. So you have that power. You operate within that power. Then when you have the legitimate power, what happens is it defines your role in that office. It defines in that. So you have the appointing authority if you need to appoint. You have, demoting authority if you have the conveying meetings, giving direction. You have that legit power to do all that. And everybody is comfortable with you at that particular moment. They know so-and-so is our chair for the next 3 years. So-and-so is a CEO in this company. So-and-so is the head of the department. It's a legit power. And the legitimate power, once you acquire it, everybody is comfortable with it. Even your enemies, even those who are in your position, they already know you are you are the de facto leader, they will say. You are the one who is leading them at that particular moment. Even if they are fighting you from a point of information that you are the leader. I hope I'm clear there, that it is well known, the system knows you're the leader, no one can fight about it, no one can question about it, because all the procedures that were supposed to be followed, they were followed to fill that position that you occupy. That is what we would call the legitimate power. You have the legitimate power. That either defined by the constitution, defined by the bylaws, defined by the responsibilities and the duty, and also what we will call the job description. It allows you to host that position. I hope I'm clear on that. Now, this is what you need to understand as a leader. The rest of the powers we are going to discuss, it is your effort to acquire them. It is your effort to acquire them. Legitimate power, most of the time, it is bestowed on you. It is that chance given either by others. It means others could have done that job, but you are given as the leader. So that means everybody else, either by election, they sat down and there were contestants. So it means we gave you that. People agreed. Or there was an appointing authority that gave you that power. They have already donated that power to you to do what you're supposed to do. But the rest of the powers you're going to discuss as number 1, number 2, up to number 5, I'm telling you, it is the work of the leader to make sure you're able to build the system of how to acquire the other powers to help you. So the only power that you'll find, and most of the time when you find leaders complaining, is because they have, let me use the word deliberately, refused to evolve their power and to make sure that their power is growing in different dimensions so that they can be able to remain effective. So you'll get a leader who comes as the chair, will keep complaining, is because he is only enjoying the legitimate power, and he never acquired the rest of the powers he needs to have or she needs to have to make his leadership effective. So once you acquire that office or you get into that office, what happens is that you already have the legit power. So what you do, you must work hard to get the rest of the powers to make your office effective and efficient and result oriented. Now, which are the other powers that you need to make sure that you build? Number 2, what would call the reward power. Now, the reward power would be able to say it is, as we talk about a reward, you have the power, you have the authority, you are given capacity to reward the best follower or the best members or the best teams within your team. As you are rewarding them, as you are recognizing their effort and their power, either by maybe giving a special lunch or maybe giving a recognition certificate. That power, you have been given the power to reward. So as you are rewarding, what you are doing, you are strengthening that behavior to continue to the rest. Also, what you are doing, once you reward, you are motivating the others to make sure there is a competitive mind and competitive spirit in the team you are leading or the group you are leading, because they want to stand to be rewarded next time when there will be a chance to be a recognition or rewarding of people. So a leader needs to calculate when to reward. And I always say this: leaders should not be mean, either with in terms of kind or in terms of words, whichever means that you develop as a system of reward. And you ask leaders, what system have you developed of rewarding people? Because reward in itself, what happens is you make people feel motivated and encouraged to do the best they can. Actually, when you reward people, what you are telling them, outshine yourself. There will be a better place to be rewarded. That you find companies will have the employee of the year. They will have the staff of the year. What they are doing, they are telling each and every staff that when you work to certain level, you'll be recognized. That is the reward power a leader needs to develop. And once what happened is the reward power that a leader needs to develop, it becomes a magnet. It pulls. And what happened is everybody want to make sure that they have gotten the attention of the leader. And that's why I struggle when I'm talking to the leaders, and you're like, you keep complaining, and you're the one in the office. You might even, a reward could be of different kind. You can decide to do tea for a certain group of people. As you are rewarding them through that cup of tea, they're sharing, they're opening their mind, they're telling you what they feel, they're telling you what you're not doing, they're able to open you. So when someone do something good, probably is a staff who has been, in terms of meeting their deadline, and they're like, do you know what, this week we are going to make sure that you have a special lunch, probably you're going to have 200 every day for the next 1 week. And and the best thing is, as the leader, it is within you to develop instruments and tools of rewards without even consulting others, because you already have the legitimate power. Now, out of the legitimate power, you can give birth to the reward power that will help you to make sure that these people are working with you. They're able to give you the best working environment. They're able to tell you what is not working, and that this is the whole thing about a leader who understands where he's taking his people. And I always say this, don't abuse rewards. What happened is, know when to reward, how to reward, and the reward system must be open so that everybody will feel we have an equal chance, we have an equal opportunity to be rewarded. So you don't reward based on emotions, you don't reward based on feelings, you reward on simple and clear standard that everybody knows. Because sometimes I've also realized there are people who will feel there are certain clique of people who are rewarded. There are people in these institutions that are recognized and others are not recognized, and most of the time it brings conflict and friction. And it all started by when you develop poor systems of reward. So as you're rewarding people, either giving them a chance probably to travel, maybe give them a chance to attend a certain symposium or seminar or something, make sure there is a clear guideline on how we reached out to these people, or how we reached to a certain decision in terms of reward. But reward power, it is something you need to develop as a leader. Don't assume this, and this is far and beyond. Do you know what? Everybody is rewarded in terms of their pay, in terms of what they're supposed to do. But what happened is, as a leader, you have been given a leeway to create other reward system that will help your leadership easy. Now, tonight, I want to ask you, as a leader, what reward system have you developed to help you to work with your people? And have said the reward system, it is the best in terms of making sure you have royalty. Actually, let me say this. When you talk about royalty in terms of leadership and followers, because there is something they get from you. Far and beyond what is tabulated or what is laid down, they know there is something else. When you become royal to this leader, there is something else you get. So if you want royalty, you must know how to reward. And that's why you'll find even in the political arena, they will say the royalties were rewarded. Why? Because whether they failed, they stood with this man and they were rewarded. And you cannot make noise. If today you want to have royalists in terms of in your in the people that you're leading, what kind of rewards do you have for them? And I've said sometimes organize some few crazy events, team buildings, lunch, certificates, awarding of certificates. Make sure there are symposium that they need to attend. Small things that will make them, get out of the norm of what they do, and they'll feel good. Sometimes have merchandise, pens, book, diary, such things. They'll help you to reward, and call so and so and tell them this is the pen we are giving you because we have realized you're doing something great. And I'm telling you, even if that person was negative towards your leadership, they start changing. That's why I say reward power is a magnet. It pulls people, but it makes sure that there are people surrounding you. So I don't know, when it comes to reward power, what you're doing about it. So I've said the legitimate power, it allows you to enjoy that office given given the tenure that you'll be there. But reward power, it is within your strategy as a leader, what I would call your A game, in terms of making sure you are rewarding people of what they are doing, and out of that you're able to put them, you're able to increase loyalty, you're able to make sure that people are motivated and they feel they have an equal ground in terms of performing. Now, opposite of reward is coercive power. The coercive power in leadership most of the time is not the best. But when we talk about reward power, it is positive. Now, the coercive power, it is negative. In other words, we would say it is the punishment power. It was people, they know when you fail to do 1, 2, 3, this is the punishment you'll get. This is what will happen. Either you're going to their salary cuts, or probably there is you leave job at late, and you'll get a warning letter that will be filed. People know that when you do 1, 2, 3, there is also 1, 2, 3 in terms of punishment. So the coercive power, what you're doing, you're coercing people to be better, and to produce a result, because they know if they don't, whether they want it or not. And I always say this, a good leader know when to apply different leadership style and different leadership powers. So you know when to be coercive in terms of pushing people, because you cannot be in an organization and your work is to rewarding even mediocrity for people to grow. And I always say this, people don't naturally love to work. And they say this, people are naturally lazy. In other words, you and I, given an opportunity, provided everything, I'm telling you, we'll always be on bed. Why we wake up so early is because there is a need that we need to fulfill. So the coercive power comes, it's in life. If you don't work, life will punish you. You not have food, you live a miserable life, so it's already punishing you. So once you don't work, there is a punishment you'll get. So a leader understand, even to their follower leader, to the subordinate leaders, they are able to understand when you don't meet the standard, when you don't keep the culture, when you don't keep the beliefs of this institution, these and these and these will happen. So leader needs to know when to be firm. And I always say this, the coerciveness of a leader determines how much people will be able to take him serious or her serious. So it's not every time you laugh in the office. It's not every time you tell people, hey guys, we're doing well, let's keep improving. There are moments when you tell people, you are not doing good. So the coercive, in terms of punishment, is making sure that the environment is not favorable for them, not permanent, but what you're doing, you are helping them to realize, no, we cannot continue this way and expect different results. So you make sure as a leader, you calculate your moves. You're able to see. You cannot have staffs who are coming to work late. You cannot have staffs who are coming to meetings late. They don't meet the deadline. They don't push their what they're supposed to do. Even if you're doing a round group, you find people don't submit their contribution. And when they come their meeting, they're like giving excuses. There are moments when you stand as a leader and tell them, if you don't contribute your monthly contribution, or you don't bring your monthly share, what will happen is either we'll deduct your shares, or we are going to make sure their fine will come. So that moment you are coercing them to make sure they do what they're supposed to do. And I've said this, and leaders need to understand, human beings are naturally stubborn. And that's why a leader assuming an office through the legitimate power needs to know how do you build the stamina in terms of being coercive, in terms of make sure the coercive power, it is working in the equal measures as you're doing with the reward. Most of the time we reward people, we tell people are doing well, but we know they are not doing anything. But This is what you need to understand. As you're doing things, your language of communication is very key. Your choice of words is very key. Your tone expression is very key. As much as in you're punishing and in terms of coercive power, you don't change yourself to become a dictator. Because when you become a dictator, you disconnect with these people. Punishment is not supposed to disconnect. It's supposed to give people a moment for soul searching and finding themselves and finding what they're supposed to be doing. In other words, we'll say punishment comes to connect you back to the system. I don't know whether I'm clear on that. So when you're punishing as a leader, because I find leaders who will be too harsh and they disconnect, who will be too harsh, are too tough to their followers and to their members, and their member feel like, now, do you know what? We are going to create a wall. And now you find there is a wall. Any punishment that you're bringing, it kicks the wall, and you cannot work when there are walls within an institution. So a leader needs to understand, as much as in your, the coercive power is coming to place, you're punishing some behavior. There's some behavior you want to to curb, there are behaviors you want to finish, and because the work of punishment is to curb, to finish, or to be able to tame certain behavior, because the reward, the other hand, the reward which is positive, its work is to motivate, introduce, and maintain a certain behavior. So as you're doing both, you need to know, on this side, you need to be conscious about words. You need to be conscious about the tone you use, because you can break people at this particular moment. And no, you and I, no one will appreciate to be punished, even when you're wrong. So when you're punishing people, you also need to understand you are doing it with a lot of care, because these people, you still need them. You still also need to understand you have invested in them, so you have no moment of losing them. They are part and parcel. That's why you're a leader, because you have followers. So you cannot keep losing followers and expect to be effective as a leader. So even you're bringing the coercive power, you're calculating your moves, and you need to know the person that we're talking about. We are expressing and we are pushing the power. We also need to understand their psychological ability to handle whichever punishment you're going to bring, because sometimes you have punished people and you break them without understanding the emotional and the psychological well-being. Because a leader, most of the time we say this, a leader is not so much about results. A leader is so much about the people, then people going to give results. Let me repeat this. A leader, his main focus or her main focus is not the results, because you have already directed people to the vision. Your main focus is people. When people are comfortable, when people are, working, then the result will be evident. So the eye of a leader is towards the people. The people, their eyes is to the results. I hope I'm clear on that. So what will happen is you need to understand, even as you're punishing, can that person able to handle that measure of punishment? I hope I'm clear on that. Good. Let me check those who have come in. Thank you, Beth, for coming in. Charles Minor, thank you. God bless you. You can also drop your comment. Let us hear what is your take and what you can be able to help us. Esther, thank you for coming in. God bless you. Mercy, thank you for coming in. Masingoe, thank you for coming in. Emily is our new member today, so thank you so much, Emily. Then Janet, thank you for always keeping on tab. Simon, thank you for Binthea Njoroge, thank you so much. Hey, thank you guys. Make sure that you are sharing. By the time you're done with this show, make sure that you have shared. We already have 4 shares. We want to make sure we have more than 10 shares. So kindly make sure you are sharing. You are able to share these on your Facebook, your YouTube, also in your WhatsApp, and we'll appreciate so much. So drop a message for us. Bedwa Johnny, thank you so much for coming in, and God bless you. Know the kind of job you're doing on the other side. So I was talking about, I've described and explained the 3 types of leadership: the legitimate power, the reward power, the coercive power. Number 4, and very important power that a leader needs to have, is what we'll call the expert power. Now, the expert power, I always say this, when you're a leader and you're leading people, what is your area of professionalism? What is your strength? When you're leading people, you need to understand, when your followers, you motivate them, when you become a role model to them, what happens is they also desire to be a leader like you. So what happens is, when you're mentoring a lot of people, you must make sure you keep growing as a leader. So the place of expert power is when you have skill, you have knowledge, you have something you can do. That becomes your area of expertise. It becomes the area of your operation. It becomes your area of authority. So as a leader, probably you realize, as I'm leading people, I need to go back and do management so that I don't lead people kenyeji way. I can be able to be organized. So that anytime there is a managerial responsibility to be done, you can do it, not just because you are the leader, but you have skills. That you'll find someone got an opportunity to be a general manager probably with a diploma. They go back to school and do a first degree. They go back to a master's. They go back, do a lot of seminars and workshops. What they are doing, they are becoming expert. They are becoming an authority in that area. And what happened is, as a leader, when you stand before people, you are empowered. There is an authority you have. And let me tell you, with the moment you reward people and that's why I say it, most of the time as a leader, you need to have different powers, because they'll help you. When you stand and you're telling people this is the way to go, there are places they cannot question, as long as you're giving them a professional and an expert point of view. Because they know you have that power, you have that authority. So you can't be a leader who have nothing. And that's why I say a leader must always keep reading. You must keep reading. You must keep empowering. Between your ears, you must keep investing. Define your area of define your area of authority. There are people they know, when it comes to account, go to our leader. He will do it. You're the chair, but above being a chair, you're an accountant. Above being a secretary, you can become the best in terms of public speaking, because you have exposed yourself. So even as you're taking people through the minutes, even as you're leading people through function, they will feel have invested in what they do. So you can't be a leader and where you got your I said this, legitimate power, it opens the door, but it doesn't keep the door open. Let me say this. The legitimate power opens the door, but doesn't keep the door open. What keeps the door open is the rest of the power I'm discussing. And expert power is very powerful. Actually, this helps you to reward and helps you to punish in terms of the coercive power. Why? Because they know there is something you have they don't have. So, and I always say this, if you're a leader, if your followers are here, you need to be here. These gaps in itself, it is power. You cannot reward people who you are below them. That's why they say the leader is the lead. When you take a bottle, there is a lid. You cannot put any liquid or any fluid beyond that lid, because that's the measure. That's a place you can go. So as a leader, when you're leading people, the place of expert power, you need to go back and understand your authority, because when you speak, they listen. When you tell them this is the way to go, they can't question you, because they know there's something you have they don't have. So when you assume office, when you become whichever position you're holding, even in the business, when you become an entrepreneur, let me tell you, when you start from a basics of simple things of doing, expose yourself, go back to school, go back to workshop, go to seminar, learn different way, learn customer care. That as a leader, you'll show by example. See how I talk to people, see how I keep my books, see how I'm organized. You are able to refer them to something they don't have. So you cannot be an effective leader when you got to this place and where you are, as they say in church, as it was the beginning, so it is, so it shall be. No. You have to keep growing. And they say this, there are moments in life when change is not a luxury but a demand. It demands you to change in the way you do things. It demands you to acquire skills so that when you are in that office, you are well equipped. You cannot lead people and they have nothing new they can draw from you. Actually, I always say this: a leader need to understand you are you are sponge. You are bucket full of water. So your followers need to have a sponge mentality. They have to come and soak some water. They have to come and draw some water from you. So what do you have? That place, is it fair? So as a leader, as you're leading people, understand they're sucking you, they're pulling you. So what happens is you must learn to keep filling in so that you can be effective, you can be efficient. That's why when you listen to people, they say, hey, when our leader came, we noticed there were difference, but you go to a place and you become stagnant. That's a place when they will tell you, hey, there are times we felt you are leading us. They're telling, in other words, we don't feel you. There are times they will tell you, hey man, there are times you could go to meetings and you come with an idea. They're telling you, man, you are done, you are dry. So as a leader in the place of expert, you need to keep learning on how to lead people in different seasons, in different times, to acquire different results. Because as I say, it's only a madman who does the same thing and expect different results. And because I know I'm not talking to mad people, then you have to keep changing the strategy. As they say, never change the mission, change the strategy. You have to keep re-strategizing. You have to keep replanning. You have to keep refocusing. That in itself, it requires to know your area of strength. When you're talking to them, the people that you lead, what is that thing will make them to listen, even if when it's not comfortable, is because you have something they don't have. And my post tonight, what is that you have in the group you're leading that will give you that moral authority to stand before them? And I've told you, by the virtue of you being the leader, does not guarantee you they will follow you. You understand, and I know at one of the stage you're going to talk about leadership stagnation and what happened and what make leadership stagnations. Is that place whereby that a leader know I'm the leader, but at the end of the day, no one who is following you. So what you do, you're doing a leisure walk. And at that particular moment, there are no results. It's because they reached to a place and they felt you have nothing else. And this is very key for any leader, and more so a leader who has a given period of time to work. If you know I'm here for 5 years, if I'm here for 3 years, the area of expert will stand out because that's what leaves as a legacy. That's what leaves a mark. It's not how many people you rewarded, because when you rewarded them, whatever you rewarded, either it was individual, when you punish is individual, but when you talk about expert, it is a totality transformation and impact that you bring in the organization. And that this is a place, this is the only power that will keep you, evolving in different seasons of your leadership. I hope I'm clear about expert, your area of authority. Your area of authority. They know when you stand to speak about this, no one can question about it. You have done enough research. You are well equipped about it. And you keep growing yourself into that. Number 5, power number 5, which is also very important, it's what we would call the referent power. The referent power. Now, the referent power, this comes from your personality. This comes from your character. This comes from your moral. It is that thing that you carry. It's not about career. It's not about rewarding. Otherwise, I would say referent power, it's much about the within. Things like trustworthy, caring, generous, in terms of empathy, sympathy, that people can be able to be around you because there is a way you handle them with care. They are good leaders who will follow. What are you doing? How are you doing? They have a soft way of dealing with you. That is a power. That is a power. So referent power, it's much about you. And you need to build these, I would call the personality traits, because they'll help you to maintain people. Actually, when we talk about the 3H of leadership, lead with the head, the heart, and the hand, the referent, it reflects your heart. your warmth, your welcome, your care, your kindness, wanting to understand that staff who is not performing. Before you punish them, before you write that letter, can you call and try to understand? Even most of the time, you might not even call them in an office. Probably you call them outside, and because you want to create a very informal environment where they feel comfortable to open their heart. So referent power, it always says this is one of the power will keep you using the other powers, because it draws people close to you. When you punish them, remember, when you punish people, what happens? They develop a negative attitude towards you. So how do you dilute the negative attitudes that you have developed? Because you had to punish, because you cannot encourage that behavior. And punishing might not even be telling someone something, is saying this will not be done. By that word, that's a punishment. So what happens is people will be negative towards you because of what you said. So what you do, use the referent power to start now pulling these people and showing them, I didn't meant wrong, I didn't meant evil for you. It's only that it has to be done, and it was within my power to do what I did. So the referent power, it's where a leader, threw away the don't care attitude. I'm the leader, I'm the one who says, I'm the manager here, I'm the CEO, I'm the owner of the business. That is not the attitude. Here is where you want to care. You actually, it's when they say the greatest among you must be the least to serve. It's where the place where you're coming low where they are. That when we're discussing about the dimensions of leaders, it's when you go down the depth. You want to go where they are, understand where they are. This is when the leader, you'll visit some of you, you want to just a random discussion. Where do your kids go to school? You want to show them that you care. That whole thing about the referent power, it shows you're still a human being. And most of the time I tell people, when you don't work about the referent power, if the position you hold, either it is rotational, either it is an elective position that it's 5 years, and then after 5 years they're going to elect somebody else. That's when you find most of the people who sit on elective position and they don't know how to the referent power. When when a new leader or new team comes in, those people who are there, either one or two, either they shift from that area, from that church, or from that organization. Why? Because they mistreated people, and they cannot be ready to receive what they planted. They cannot be ready to harvest what they planted. So what happened is they choose to go. I give a very simple scenario, which probably a number of people understand. You find in church organization, when we have leaders who have been elected either in a term of 3 years or a term of 6 years, by the time they are done, because they allowed power to get into their head and it didn't get into their heart to handle people with care, by the time they are finishing their tenure, no one want to around them, no one to want to be seen with them, because they have messed everything. And by the time somebody else take that, they cannot even mentor. They run away from that church, or probably you find they are no longer committed, because they are like, they never understood the referent power and how they are supposed to use it by bringing people, be concerned with people, because you are going to hand over this power back to people who elected you. People who donated this power. You see, most of the time when we talk about leadership, it's just an extension of people's power. They have donated that chance for you to lead them in a group, whether it's a merry-go-round. It is not your chama, it's their chama. It's what we'd call, you're just an equal, you are first among equal. All of you qualify by the virtue of this our chama, but we have allowed you to be our chair. So treat us with decorum, treat us with respect. There's a place where your character comes to show. And that's why they say, let's see what kind of a man you are until you get power. When you get power, how do you behave? How do you treat people? How do you talk to people? And understand, most of the time, the kind of leadership we have, no one will enjoy the security of tenure. It's for a given period of time. Even if you enjoy the security of tenure, there's a moment when you'll not be able to lead, and you'll go back to the society. And that particular moment, you cannot live with other people, because you never use that power, which is within. And I'll say this, the reverent power is manufactured within you. It is you who reach out to build and to make sure you bring the best in terms of making sure the people that you are leading they are able to feel you're a human being, and what they go through, you also go through. The pain they feel, you also feel. And most of the time is showing them that whatever I'm doing, I'm only doing for the well-being of all of us. I hope I'm clear on that, because that is very important. And most of the time when we talk about referent power, it had also, it go hand in hand with what we'd call the charismatic power, which comes from charismatic personality. That power that you have that pulls people. You're able to move people. Those people, when you talk about those people who lead strikes, even in school, those people who are the chairs of trade unions, those people who are in the welfare, the chairmen of the welfare, those people, they're good complaining about when things are not okay. They have a charisma power. They talk and people can listen. They can move massive. They can move people to a certain direction. They can sweep. They can move people. As a leader also, you need to have this. You need to have that power to move people in a certain dimension. You need to move people in a certain way. You cannot be dry all the time. You need to understand how to play along, and these happen well. The charismatic power comes hand in hand with referent power. Those two are very important, and that every time you're talking to people, they want to feel your concern. They want to feel as you're following them, you're giving them hope. Actually, the purpose of having a charismatic power is giving people hope, a clear future, and it is doable. That is the ability. It's doable. We can do it. Let's stand together. It doesn't matter how strong, it doesn't matter how hard the situation is, we can make it. And that is a leader. You become a motivator, you become an encourager, you become, a mover. That's the whole thing about being a charismatic power. And that is very important. In a nutshell, as a summarize, I've said any leader who gets into any office, once you assume that office, you assume it through the legitimate power, either through election, appointment, or whichever legal or bylaws that governs the institution, or either by the virtue you are the owner of the organization, you are the owner of the business. It gives you the legitimate power. You're the one who controls. But you know what? That is not enough. You need to go a step higher and make sure you're working on the area of what I talked about, the reward power. Create good, simple, understandable, and clear system of rewarding people, so that each and every person understand we have an equal chance to become the supervisor, immediate line manager, department manager, regional, and all that someone feel there is a clear way everybody falls on safe hands in terms of whatever you'll do shall be rewarded. So the reward power is very important. And the same measure, we talked about coercive power as number 3, the power that you use to reward, to curb, or to make sure you terminate cultures, behaviors, and some of the things that are cropping in the organization that are not right. How do you do it? And I said, when you're using coercive power, make sure your wording is right, your tone is right, your environment when you're communicating is very right, because at that particular moment, no one welcomes punishment with an open hand. Anytime someone knows that they're going to face punishment, what they do, they become rebellious, they become hostile, and conflict comes in. Most of the time, when you find organization breaking, is because there is a coercive power that is so powerful, and the person who is pushing it doesn't understand how to go about it with care, because you still require these people. Because I say this, you are not a leader if you don't have followers. You are not a leader if you keep losing. And I also said this, the eyes of the leader is towards the people. The eyes of the people is towards the results. So you need to understand, you're not so much about the result, but the well-being of the people who are going to give you the results. I'm clear on that. Then I have talked about the expert power that you need to have. It gives you the moral, it gives you the authority, it gives you the power. This is my area of jurisdiction. This is what I can do. And I know when I start to speak about this, no one can question, because I have done enough research. I have the papers that are required, and it helps you. This is what makes you a leader to keep growing. This is a leader who makes sure that when you're using the expert power, you are growing and you're pulling other people to become leaders. You don't occupy one position for so long, you keep making sure that other people are becoming better as you're growing yourself. And I've talked about the referent power. That is the power that comes from within, from your personality, how you deal with people, how your social conscient in terms of how you interact with people, how you behave with people, your emotional intelligence that comes to play because you're able to handle people at different times. You understand these people, even if they have messed, they don't need to be punished because probably they are going through something that I need to intervene. So that is the whole thing about having the reverent power. You know that it helps you to become a human being and not an animal. And I've also talked about the charismatic power, which also is very important for a leader to know. How do you move masses? How do you pull people towards a certain direction? How do you move people through your words? How do you give people hope? How do you give people a bright future? That is all about charismatic leadership. Sometimes when you talk about charismatic leadership and power, it's just about telling people it is doable, it's possible. Even if at that particular moment the ship is sinking, but you're telling them we can do it. Let's hope. Let's believe tomorrow as we are coming to this organization, it will be better. How you do it is all about that stronger persona that you need to carry. I'll say 3 things that are very clear for a leader. Those 6 leadership power, they don't play or they don't come to play at the same time. So you need to calculate your moves, when to apply which power, and what is the objective, and what is the expected outcome. So that you know as a leader, you don't keep shaking the ground too much that people cannot be stable. You need the work of the power, remember we said, is to influence behavior, is to influence the mind, is to influence direction. So when we are talking about the power, there must be consistent in terms of which power you are using and how you're using it. And also it must be very clear what is the objective. Remember, power can build and power can break. Remember, power is force. And force can be negative and can be positive. How you use that force will determine the result. So you need to understand season on when to use which power. It is within your power as leader to decide which power to use. Number 2 is very important. Keep evaluating yourself. Anytime you apply this kind of power, evaluate what were the benefits, what were the consequences, what were the harmful gains that we got, where did we go wrong, so that you don't keep putting a lot of cracks in your leadership. Remember, when you reward, there are people who will be negative. When you punish, there are people who will be disloyal to you. So you need to understand when you're using referent power, and some people think there are people that you care more about. So if they start thinking there are people that are loved, there are people who are listened than others. So you need to understand human beings will never be comfortable. They'll never be contented. So most of the time you need to understand how do you keep reevaluating yourself so that as you're moving with people, I always say this, a leader needs to be 10 steps ahead so that by the time there is a shift, you can feel it and you can fix it before it brings a drift and a shift. So that's the work of a leader. And only you can do this when you keep evaluating. Where are we? Which season are we? Which power are we using? What are the consequences we are getting? What are the benefits? It helps you. Number 3, and very important, keep improving on your powers. Keep on improving. If last year you rewarded on this year go to the next level. If this year this is what you knew, go to the next level in terms of an expert. You keep growing your power. You keep expanding your power. Because once you are growing, once you are developing, you are not predictable. A good leader should not be predictable. Your follower should not read all your moves. You should have some cards behind there that kikiumana there is something you can pull. So a great leader, that's why they say you know the road. You have walked the road. You know where the pitfalls are, so you can be able to direct them well. So a good leader needs to keep growing their power capacity. They have to make sure that their store is growing. When the followers are expecting you to do this, you do it times 10 and they're wondering, how did you do it? That's a leader So a leader's move should always be, you must be calculative. You must always have desire to grow, because that will help you. Even as you're leading people, they're able to know our leader can surprise us at any time. I say this, the dangerous place to find a leader is when a leader, your followers, they know everything about you. They know your move. Even before you open your mouth, they know the words you're going to say. That is a dangerous place to be as a leader, because that moment they will tell you they're smarter than you, and they will never listen you. I tell people, why people will listen you, why people will support you. One is because you have a bigger vision than they have. Number two is because you're solving a problem they don't have a solution. If people have solution to their problem, they'll never follow you. They'll never follow me. So as a leader, you need to make sure what problem people are going through, so that by the time you're meeting them, as you're leading them, you keep giving them hope by solving their problem. And that is the whole thing about leaders. And because you have this power as a leader, you must know how to use it. I hope I'm clear tonight to each and every one of us. Hey, thank you, Faith Alex. Hey, Maureen Getare, thank you for coming. God bless you. Representing Nyanyuki, we are honored. I saw Anchege. I saw Anchege, a good friend and one of the people that I know in terms of selling insurance. Thank you so much. Thank you, John, for coming in, all the way from Nakuru. We appreciate you. Thank you, Eric, all the way from Nyahururu. I love all those people who turned in and they took their time to share. I see we have done amazing in terms of sharing and making sure we have reached as many people as we can. My desire tonight, my great people, even as we retire and even we come to the end of this session, go sit down as a leader and evaluate your personality. Remember, we are doing this after what we did in terms of personality traits, the sanguine, choleric, phlegmatic, and melancholy. Those different personalities use this power differently. And I know as we're going to do next month, we're going to do leadership style, and then we're going to do a whole, connection on how these three topics, are interjoined. But as a leader, if you don't know how to use your power, I'm telling you, you'll keep complaining, you'll keep murmuring, you'll keep being frustrated. You'll see how people don't work, you'll see how people don't support you, you'll see how people, they don't know where you are taking them. You'll complain every day about the people you're leading. And the problem is not the people. Remember, I've said this, that it is not within your followers to try and understand. It is within your power. That's why you have the legitimate power. Make it clear for us. So, if you don't sit down and rebrand yourself, re-strategize yourself, you keep complaining. But my desire, even as I do leadership mentorship, even as I do leadership coach, my desire is to see leaders who understand how to lead people without complaining. And that's the best thing that you can do. So I hope you have gotten some few points that will help you to lead wherever you are reading, that will make you to be more influential, will make you to be more impactful and much more result-oriented people as you lead them. These things are possible. So do them with an understanding and we will achieve. So thank you so much. God bless you. It's my desire always to have you people. It's my joy to always have you people. I want to tell you the journey we have walked together. It's only God who can bless you as he blesses me, even as blessed the Well Show, even as we are trusting God to a better and bigger, shows. So from us, thank you so much. God bless you. Any comment, drop a comment, tell us how we are doing, send us a message of encouragement, even as we sit down and plan how to bring you the best show we can. We appreciate you. If you do want to support us, if you want to be a partner, kindly let us know how we can do this. We always say this from the sociology point of view. You are because I am, and I am because you are. We need each other, and that is it's the environment that we are in. So God bless you. God love you. May God keep you. Till next week on Thursday, same place, same time. better show, better content, better wisdom. May God bless you, and shalom, shalom, shalom.